What I'm gonna argue here is that evolution is the basis of all African science and religion. And so to be against evolution is to be anti-African.
That is a lot of poppycock.
And so again, we have a lot of people who don't understand Africa, who want to make arguments on behalf of Africa. And we'll deal with this, saying now as it regards evolution and some other scientific concepts.
Please.
And so, a lot of arguments will try to argue that there's no African saying that we come from lower states of beings.
Our ancestors were 20 times cleverer than we are.
In terms of animals or whatnot into our human form.
We follow the Sirius star, the shooting of the Sirius star to come on the earth.
And so, a lot of arguments will try to argue that there's no African saying that we come from lower states of beings in terms of animals or whatnot into our human form.
Please, in the past, human beings were cleverer than we are. Today, and that human beings knew more than we know now. We are not progressing, Mr. I. We are simply rediscovering things that were known by better men and better women than we are thousands of years ago.
Let's concentrate on some of the images on the necklace and the symbols, because that leaves no doubt that a lot of knowledge has been around for a very much longer time than we are ever told. First of all, on the hand, I'm seeing the eye. Now, the all-seeing eye and the symbol of the eye is one the Illuminati use all the time. And it's one, of course, that was a very big symbol of ancient Egypt, the Eye of Ra and what have you. Why is that eye there on that hand?
That represents the terrible eye of the Chitauli, the eye which sees everything, the eye which knows everything. It is said that when a Chitauli dies, he passes his dead eye onto his next of kin. And to the Chitauli, an eye is a very, very powerful symbol. This is the eye of the Chitauli.
Now, on the hand here is what looks like the symbol of the constellation of Orion. What's the significance of that?
Say, people throughout Africa believe that the original human beings either came from Orion or the gods for whom read the Chitauli and many other alien nasties actually come from that constellation. we call it the constellation of Umhambi, the one who travels very, very far away. And we call this constellation also the constellation of Matsieng, the giant who was sent by God to this earth to create the first human beings. Matsieng was accompanied by a male lion with a very black mane, and he was also accompanied by his dog. And he traveled throughout the world. He first created the first race of human beings, and they were so stupid in appearance that he buried them alive in a cave, and then he created the next race of human beings, which was clever, and we are the descendants of that. These two triangles, a triangle facing downwards, represents the descending female principle, and a triangle going upwards represents the rising male principle. It is a symbol of the unity of the feminine and the masculine. It is in fact the symbol, a very important symbol of duality.
Is this the kind of shape of spacecraft, etc., or flying craft that the beings from other planets were supposed to have flown in, or not?
No. This, you see, there are various shapes. There are spacecrafts which are shaped like boomerangs or bows. These are very, very, very big. Then there are spacecraft which are shaped like pipes, like huge pipes, roughly pointed at either end. And out of those huge pipes come these little things here. They are carried inside this huge pipe. Yes, sir.
We could talk about this fella.
Yes.
First of all, the penis and all this stuff, that relates, I would have thought, to the penis of Osiris in Egyptian legend, and the same recurring theme. Would that be along the right lines?
We say that King Samahongo, who is represented here, the lord of all the Chitauri, call them what you will, had his penis cut off by Prince Muari, an African hero, and he replaced it with a golden one. Originally, we are told, this thing was made of gold. And now each time when we recall the story of the great marriage between human women and Chitauri men, we unite these creatures symbolic.
So, why are the depictions of the gods, if they were reptilian, why are they not constantly reptilian? Why are they symbolized in other forms?
Because it is very, very, very forbidden to portray a Chitawuli as it really is. Only in that large green head do we see a Chitawuli represented more or less as it is.
So this was dictated by the Chitahuli from
Yes,
the start, was it?
Yes.
All along?
It was, you are not allowed to represent the sons of the python as they really are. Then you are really in trouble. If you want to talk about the Chitawuli, you must either play with shadows, you must place an image of a Chitawuli against a light and project its shadow onto the wall.
So you've got a fish, I know, on the necklace as well, and fish are scaled. Is this anything to do with the symbolic representation of the Chitahuli in a way that they couldn't do it openly?
Yes, sir. There is a particular Chitawuli who is called Wowane by our people. Wowane was one of the few good Chitawuli, because there are also some good people amongst them. And Wowane had a brother called Mpangu. According to one of the great stories, there erupted a terrible war on the red world where human beings had originally been created. And this war was between men and women. Yes, sir. And in this world, men and women nearly decimated each other. But they were rescued by the Earth Mother, who sent a great Nganyamba, that is, a great dragon, to come out of the sky, to take them into its stomach, and to bring them down not to our earth, to a beautiful watery world near the star of the red dog, Injebomvu, which the white people call Sirius. The star of anger. There, the human beings were settled, but human beings started eating creatures which they found in the sea, which they thought were fishes, but which were really human beings. Human beings, we are told, started eating the Chitawuli who lived in the sea, according to one story. And the Chitawuli fought back against human beings. They attacked them with tornadoes. They attacked them with tidal waves, and the human race was nearly wiped out. And then two brothers, two Chitawuli youths, Mpangu and Wowani, took pity upon the human race. And they went into the sky and looked for a great egg. And they hollowed out this egg, emptied its contents out, and brought the egg to that world and loaded the surviving human beings and brought them to our world here.
In Indaba, My Children, there's a Sangoma by the name of Credu Mutwa who wrote a text called Indaba, My Children in 1964. So on page 590, you will see these stages of evolution according to Credu Mutwa. So this is scanned directly from the book. These are the drawings that in this priestly lore that they argue in terms of the stages of evolution.
We say that Wowani gave us the power of kingship. He brought it out of the sky. And if you notice, in many parts of Africa, ancient kings used to wear a wooden helmet with golden horns. It was true in West Africa, and it was true also in Southern Africa in the great Munumutapa Empire.
The horns representing the Chitahuli.
Yes, the power of the Chitahuli. Because to a Chitahuli, horns are not just for goring other Chitahuli as oxen gore each other. No, horns are a symbol of status, and through its horns, a Chitahuli is able to communicate with human beings far across the face of the earth.
But I wonder what you think, Credo, of what is taught to children and students all over the world in the universities and the fancy academic centers. That actually we are now at the cutting edge of human evolution in terms of technological knowledge and knowledge of the world and the universe, and in fact back in the ancient world, in Africa and North Africa and all over South America, they were just a primitive.
In the past, human beings were cleverer than we are. Today, and that human beings knew more than we know now. We are not progressing, Mr. I. We are simply rediscovering things that were known by better men and better women than we are thousands of years ago.
God sent the Nomo. Because the galaxy was there through the star called Sigitoro, which you guys call Sirius star.
It shows deep, profound ignorance.
Which we know before the Europeans come in the Dogon country here. So then we follow the Sirius star, the shooting of the Sirius star to come on the earth. So then when the normal fall off, then it makes a big hole. There was a water. And then the master of the water, which we call the normal, he can be the first ancestor of the Dogon people. So then is that why we say we come through the Sirius star. You understand what I mean?
It shows deep, profound ignorance.
But different places from different from the Dogon country, they have sometimes, it's always related with we come from the Sirius star. But then the story sometimes from different places, they have different mythologies.
And so, for some reason, people thinking that humans are not a part of nature and that we are not part of the animal kingdom. Now, we may be a little bit more intelligent as far as what we understand in terms of intelligence than all the other animals, but that does not mean that we're not animals. We're not a part of that kingdom. We all grew from the same set of circumstances on this earth here. And so the Dogon people of Mali, West Africa, in their ontological works and understandings, they understood this point.
We are not progressing, Mr. I. We are simply rediscovering things that were known by better men and better women than we are thousands of years ago.
And so in The Pale Fox by Griole and D'Artagnan, 1965, pages 39 and 40, we get a little insight into this. And so I'm citing the text here. It says, Ama is the word or the name for God, which is creation itself, according to the Dogon people. And it's cognate with the word Amen in ancient Egypt. So Amen, or Ama, entrusted a part of the management of the universe specifically to the first three Nomo. The Nomo Daye, the Nomo Titiyanye, and O Nomo, which I have bolded here. The first two reside with Ama in the imperial sky. The third is the father of man. Now notice it didn't say that the third, or Onomo, is the father of all creations, specifically man. And so from this entity gave birth to modern man eventually.
Please.
Now, on the left-hand side is the depiction of Onomo. We notice that this is a fish. From this fish, this Nomo fish, gave rise to all of man.
We follow the Sirius star, the shooting of the Sirius star to come on the earth. So then when the normal fall off, then it makes a big hole. There was a water. And then the master of the water, which we call the Nomo, he can be the first ancestor of the Dogon people. So then is that why we say we come through the Sirius star? You understand what I mean?
It shows deep, profound ignorance.
According to the Dogon people. Now this is interesting because in our modern scientific understanding of the process of evolution and evolutionary theory, we come from fish. But modern science does not limit the evolution of the fish or fish-like creature, you know, to simply human beings. It is responsible for basically all land animals, all land mammals. And so there's a book for that a layperson can understand. It's called Your Inner Fish, the amazing discovery of our 375 million year old ancestor. By Dr. Neil Shubin. And what this argues is that we ultimately come from fish, just like what the Dogon priest would tell you.
Please.
And so now we're dealing with the Zulu in South Africa. So I'm going to be kind of skipping around, you know, Africa to show that this is an African thing. This is a Pan-African concept of evolution. And so in Ndaba, My Children, there's a Sangoma by the name of Credu Mutwa who wrote a text called Ndaba, My Children in 1964. So on page 590, you will see these stages of evolution according to Credu Mutwa. So this is scanned directly from the book. These are the drawings that in this priestly lore that they argue in terms of the stages of evolution.
Please, that is a lot of poppycock.
And so they say it also in terms of the soul and the stages that we go through. And so starting from the left is the grass phase. And so this is the hieroglyph of grass and grass phase. Then there's the tree phase. Then the beast phase. Then the human phase. And then the reptile phase. The bird phase and the star phase. So according to this tradition, we ultimately evolve into stars. You know, we find the same tradition in ancient Egypt, find it in the Congo, and even amongst the Dogon, and other traditions, even the Dagara in West Africa. And so this isn't, you know, as accurate as we would understand it in the modern scientific perspective. But that's not the point. The point is that we have a doctrine of evolution. And you even see the pictograms of the stages of evolution according to the AmaZulu. So moving on.
That is a lot of poppycock.
I'm Dynasty Mir, and few have the opportunity to actually sit down in Dogon country with an actual spiritual master in Hogan. So I've been afforded the opportunity to do so, and excuse my voice. So I'm going to ask a couple questions, and you know, hopefully it will help out with those who are into, you know, Dogon culture and spirituality.
Okay.
First question is the origins of the Dogon. There's not a lot of clarity, and when you ask, if you ask several different people in the U.S. Where's their origins, you'll get 7 different answers. So we could get the actual correct answer from the Dogon himself.
Okay.
Where, can you tell us a little bit about the origins of
So
the Dogon?
there is a Toroyadu, which Toro means like a star. Toroyadu is the morning star. Toro Atan is the third stars. Toro Anai is the fourth star. Donc Abela Jele or the Toroseni. Okay. Then all together will make, like you said, 7 sisters. The seven which makes the seven star, which makes the Dogon ancestors.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay. Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Yeah. And then in he said it's because that word is 7. He said the 4 one is the signification of man's number, and the 3 one is the signification of females, women. So then the 7 will make will represent the ancestor of the Dogon people.
Okay. Okay. And then I have a question from a friend of mine. Her name is Nikki Love. She wanted to know about Sirius C, the female dwarf star, and the Amma. does it prefigure the four mythological elements of water, fire, wind, and earth, and how it constitutes the four cardinal directions?
Yeah. So
of
it's they get this position. They related the four different sides, like east, north.
Right.
So they put them with the ancestor, as I tell you.
Okay.
Like the man, you have Aru, Oro, the four big family.
Yeah.
You have four big family. You have Aru, Oro, John, and Dono.
Okay.
So then they get the ancestor. They put them in the different places.
Okay.
So then they get the name of the four different area through the four different big families.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? So Dono, Oro, John, Aru, Oro, John, Dono.
Okay.
These are the four main family of the Dogon people.
Okay. In
La dernière
America,
question.
as far as Dogon spirituality, you know, it's probably like one of the last forms of African spirituality that hasn't been diluted and is original and is pure. But you know, when I come to Dogon country, I notice there are now Christians and Islam in Dogon country. What are your thoughts on that?
He said still the Dogon people in their majority, they are animists. And they believe with their Ama. The Ama is like God.
Right.
So their God is the fetish.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Okay.
He said this is an example. Behind you, this is their Ama. This is their God. This is the God of that community. You understand what I mean? So then they give like animal blood or a millet cream to as a gift to their Ama. So they believe that animism is an alliance between nature and human being. So the fetish is here. The human being, if they want something from the nature, from the spirit, from the nature, they come, they give blood of animal or millet cream because they think there's two things has a vital force. And the spirit come, get the blood or the millet cream on the fetish and then give what human being want to the fetish, and the fetish will give that to the human being. You understand what I mean? So that like they think like the fetish is their, the Ama is their God, and they believe this God is the alliance between their community and the nature.
Okay.
This is what they believe. So there is the Ama. We say that Ama created the sky and the land. And the Dogon mythologists think that the land was our mother. The land was the mother. And then you know the formula, like the ant hole, the hole from the ant. I don't know if you have seen this once. The ant, it makes a very big, makes very big hole. And some mythology of the Dogon people think that that represents like the sex of the motherland. And then he says that when God wants to create other things, like galaxy and trees, trees and animals, then he wants that, you know, the land and the sky get meeting. And how do they meet? It's from the rain. You understand what I mean? So then, when God starts to plan the meeting of the two things, we say that the termite, you know the termite?
Yeah.
The termite, sometimes they make a big, like a statue. You understand what I mean? Termite, they build with the mud. I don't know if you have, so then the mythology say that termite was straight on the ant, the small animal ant, the ant's hole. So that represents like a clitoris for a woman. You understand what I mean? So then that didn't want that the sky get meeting with the earth. So then the Dogon people think is that why is they have to take the clitoris out. Of the woman, because they think it was the first rebellion, right? It was the first rebellion. So then they said that the Ama take it, the termite things away, then to create a possibility to make the meeting between the earth and the sky. So from that couple, then the Nomo has born. The Nomo is the master of the water. Which is part of the ancestor of the Dogon people. So this Nomo, how this Nomo come? The Nomo was still in the sky because we think that mother and father, if they have kids together, in our religion, in our tradition, kids are for men. Right. You understand what I mean? Kids are for men. So then, the Nomo, we follow the Sirius star, the shooting of the Sirius star to come on the earth. You understand what I mean? Okay. Yeah. So if you heard Ama is God. Okay. God is, for them is the fetish. Okay. In some of the villages, they think that just after the meeting of the earth and sky, there was a fox too. You know, fox we say Yuruku. So they think that Yuruku is just the son after, I mean, the baby after the revolution of the clitoris. You understand what I mean? And then he knows, is that why we think the fox knows everything? I mean, we didn't get to see that yet, but there are some old guys who bring like sesame and peanut in a place and they fixed it. Then the fox come and take this node. And then the next day, we are on 22.
I just don't want. Oh, we got plenty of time. Okay.
Yeah. The next day, the old guys, they go and read the footprint from the fox to tell, you know, to tell your future, what's gonna happen to you, what's gonna happen to the village. Then, if there is a sacrifice to avoid any bad thing, then they come and then they will tell to the Hogon. They will say, the community has to give this sacrifice to the Ama to avoid any bad curse or any bad karma. So, yeah. So the fox has a story also related with the Dogon people.
on the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. This is the story, a story you find throughout Africa. There was once a time when the blue sky was invisible, when the whole world was covered with mist, when you could not see the sun as it is now. You only saw it as a splash of white light moving slowly across the sky. At that time, there was an eternal drizzle every day of the year. At that time, people could not see the stars. People only saw the trees growing, trees which were very, very big. There was no desert at that time, only jungle everywhere where you went. At that time, sir, people were what we call in Zulu, ngubili. A human being was both male and female in one body. And out of the sky, one day came terrible objects. They were like gigantic bows made of huge gleaming gold. They were shaped like bows without strings, and they were bigger than the biggest mountains. They came out of the sky bringing great noise, black smoke, and fire with them. And out of those huge objects came them. At that time, sir, human beings could not speak. We had no gift of language at that time. And people had, however, great mental power. A man would go into the bush and, using the power of his mind, actually call out an animal which he wanted to hunt and kill for his children. And the animal would appear and kneel down before the man, and the man would kill the animal and take it home. But when the Chitawuli arrived in Africa, they told our people that they were gods and that they were going to give us human beings great gifts on one condition. We had to worship them and accept them as our creators. Some told our people that they were our elder brothers and that this earth had produced them generations ago. And they said they had come back to the green womb of their mother and that they were going to make us into gods. What they did, they created a very strange pair of caves in the land. they dug 2 caves. In one cave was a green light, in another cave was a red light. And they drove human beings into these caves. And each human being had to choose which cave the human being wanted to go into. And those who went into the green cave came out as women. And those who went into the red cave came out as men. And then the talkers, the Chitauri, told our people that now they were perfect. But the moment the first men saw the first women, a terrible row erupted. The women hated the men because they looked between their legs and they saw what they thought were snakes dangling between the legs of the men. And the men hated the women because they looked on their chests and they saw these big things. What they were, they did not know. And then the Chitauri laughed. It was to them a very, very big joke. And then the Chitauri said, if you serve us, you wretched little human beings, we are going to make you into gods. And the human beings agreed to serve the Chitauri. And the Chitauri gave human beings a second gift, the gift of language. People started talking with their tongues where they had talked with their minds before. And there was a big rubbish starting again, because this man did not know the language of that man. And when this man greeted that man, this man thought that he was being insulted, and so a lot of murder and culpable homicide started taking place all over the world. When our people were given language, they found to their horror that they had lost much of their mental powers. They had paid a terrible price.
I don't think he said it. I think he should sue you.